What happens when innocence is exchanged for silence and loyalty is purchased with whispers of betrayal? In the quiet corners of Chief Emeka's luxurious mansion, a forbidden affair grew. Young Afamefuna, the spoilt heir, and the humble housemaid, shared a secret no one dared to reveal. She needed the money while he craved her body. But what began as stolen moments in the shadows quickly turned into something far darker, sowing the seeds of a man's uncontrollable sexual desire. How did the secret affair become the foundation of a scandal that would destroy lives? Stay with me, because this story of lust, power, and consequences will captivate you until the very end. The whispers began at the break of dawn in Umuoma, a bustling village where gossip was the lifeblood of daily life. Have you heard the latest? One woman said, her voice trembling with shock. Chief Emeka's son has ruined not one, not two, but 3 innocent girls. Pregnant, all of them. The words overspread, igniting outrage and sorrow in equal measure. No one could believe it, not from the family that seemed to have everything. Chief Emeka and his wife Adana were the village's shining stars. Their beautiful mansion stood as a symbol of their immense wealth, and their fleet of luxurious cars inspired admiration and envy. Yet, despite all their riches, the couple carried a burden that no money could lift. For 15 long years, they lived in the shadow of childlessness. Adana often cried herself to sleep, and Chief Emeka, though patient in public, would spend sleepless nights pacing his study room, wondering what he had done to displease God. One day, as Adana wandered through the village market, she encountered a prophet, an old man with a look that seemed to pierce through her soul. "Woman," he said, his voice steady, "your prayers have reached heaven. You shall conceive, and the child you bear will bring you great joy." Adana fell to her knees, tears trembling down her face. True to the prophecy, she discovered she was pregnant a few months later. When her son was born, they named him Afamefuna, which means "my name shall not be forgotten." For he was their miracle, their pride, their everything. Afamefuna grew up in a world where his every fantasy was indulged. His parents, overjoyed to have him, showered him with affection and material gifts, but they failed to instill discipline. From a young age, Afam learned that he was untouchable. At school, teachers dare not punish him for fear of Chief Emeka's wrath. Even when complaints arose about Afam bullying other students and harassing girls, the school authorities covered it up, terrified of losing the chief's financial support. At home, Afamefuna was no better. He began targeting their house help, a quiet young woman named who was 10 years older than him. Life as a housemaid in Chief Emeka's mansion was a far cry from luxury, but for it was a step up from the struggles she had known in her village. Her days were filled with endless chores, but the steady income allowed her to send money home to her family, ensuring her siblings had food and schooling. Yet, life took an unexpected turn when young Afamefuna began to take notice of her. At first, She saw his attention as harmless, even amusing, a spoiled teenager playing at adulthood. But soon, she realized that his interest could be far more rewarding than she initially thought. Afamefuna's infatuation with began subtly. At just 15, he was beginning to explore his own desires, and with her graceful behavior and quiet beauty, became the focus of his attention. He would linger in the kitchen while she cooked, cracking jokes and paying her compliments. You are the most beautiful woman in this house," he said one day with a smile. Laughed, not out of embarrassment, but out of knowing she could see where this was heading. At first, she entertained his advances with a playful air, ignoring his compliments, but never fully discouraging him. Then came the gifts, small token at first, like snacks, perfume, but they quickly escalated. One evening, Afamefuna handed her an envelope filled with crisp naira notes. "For you," he said, his tone casual, but his eyes filled with expectation. Hesitated for a moment, then accepted it with a smile. She knew the game they were playing, and she intended to win. From that point on, leaned into the relationship, knowing it could be her golden ticket. She began to dress more carefully, choosing outfits that showed her figure whenever Afamefuna was home. She smiled more when he was around, laughing at his jokes and teasing him just enough to keep him hooked. Afamefuna, drunk on his own sense of power, believed he was the one in control. But knew better. Let him think that, she thought to herself, as long as the money keeps coming. One evening, when Chief Emeka and Adana were out, Afamefuna took a bold step. He approached in the living room where she was folding laundry. He said, his voice low and smooth, "Why don't you take a break? Sit with me." She looked at him pretending, but inside she knew exactly what she was doing. "All right, small master," she replied, sitting beside him on the couch. What followed was the beginning of a relationship that would become their secret. Knew how to play her cards right. She made sure to never appear too eager, keeping Afam chasing after her affections. Every encounter came with its price: new jewelry, extra cash, or promises of even more. Afamefuna, blinded by his own desires, was more than willing to indulge. "Anything for you, he would say, handing her words of cash or expensive trinkets. For her, it was an arrangement that worked perfectly. She didn't feel shame or regret. Instead, passionately fed his growing lust, making him believe that no woman could resist him. Over time, their secret affair became routine. Whenever Chief Emeka and Adana were out, Afamefuna and will sleep with each other, enjoying themselves to the fullest. By the time Afamefuna graduated from secondary school, his reputation was already in tatters among those who knew the truth. But Chief Emeka, blind to his son's fault, used his influence to secure him top grades. Despite his lack of effort, he even threw a grand graduation party, inviting his friends to celebrate Afam's success. It was a night filled with music and laughter, but beneath the surface, whispers of Afamefuna behavior continued to spread. When Afamefuna arrived at the prestigious private university, he felt like a king entering his kingdom. For a young man who had spent his life bending rules and consequences, the freedom of university life was intoxicating. His parents ensured he had everything he needed to stand out: a brand new car, the latest gadgets, and a monthly allowance that could feed a small village. To his peers, Afam was the epitome of success and privilege. To him, he was untouchable. In no time, Afamefuna established himself as the campus Casanova. His good looks, charming smile, and deep pockets made him irresistible to many. He threw lavish parties in his off-campus apartment, which soon became infamous as the go-to spot for wild nights. Alcohol flowed like water, and music blasted until dawn. The girls who attended his parties often left with stories of his smooth talk and irresistible charisma. For many, being in Afam's circle felt like a ticket to popularity and excitement. Afamefuna reputation as a womanizer quickly grew. He knew how to prey on vulnerabilities, how to say the right words to make girls feel special, only to discard them when the tree was gone. To some, he promised love and a future together. To others, he flaunted his father's wealth, offering expensive gifts as a token of his affection. He left a trail of broken hearts and a shattered friendship, but the university culture of silence kept his actions under wraps. Many were embarrassed or scared to speak out. To him, life was a game and women were the pawns. As graduation approached, Afamefuna felt invincible. He had conquered the university, leaving his mark on every party, every lecture hall, and countless hearts. His parents, unaware of the monster they had created, were proud of their brilliant son and spared no expense for his graduation celebration. Afamefuna stood tall in his cap and gown, flashing a confident smile for the cameras, completely oblivious of the storm his lifestyle was brewing, a storm that would soon destroy everything he held dear. When Afamefuna received his posting for the National Youth Service Corps, a wave of excitement and entitlement washed over him. He had been assigned to an all-girls secondary school in Lagos, a place he instantly saw not as a duty but as an opportunity. To him, this wasn't just a posting, it was an invitation to indulge his darkest desire. An entire school full of young, impressionable girls, he thought, a sly grin spreading across his face. This is going to be paradise. From the moment Afamefuna stepped into the school grounds, his presence created a stir. Dressed in his freshly ironed NYC uniform, with his confident swagger and easy smile, he seemed larger than life. The teachers, mostly middle-aged women, found him charming, while the students, many of whom had rarely interacted with a man as polished and self-assured as Afam, were immediately drawn to him. He became a subject of hushed whisper and stolen glances, a figure of fascination and curiosity. Afamefuna quickly positioned himself as the school's unofficial superstar. He would bring snacks and small gifts to the staff room, winning the favor of the teachers. To the students, He presented himself as a mentor, someone who genuinely cared about their futures. He often told stories about his university days, painting himself as the kind of man who had been through it all and could guide them. But beneath his cute look lay a calculated predator who knew exactly how to exploit their innocence. Among the students, Afamefuna identified his targets with precision. There was Ada, a shy girl from a struggling family who often stayed late after class to finish her homework. Afam began by helping her with her assignments, praising her intelligence, and telling her she deserved a better life. "You are special, Ada," he would say, his voice soft and reassuring. "With my help, you can achieve anything." Ada, starved for attention and desperate for a way out of her poverty, fell under his spell. Then there was Ngozi, the school's beauty queen. Ngozi was ambitious, dreaming of becoming a doctor and escaping the constraints of her small world. Afamefuna preyed on her aspirations, telling her he had connection that could help her secure scholarship abroad. "I see so much potential in you," he said, his eyes locking onto hers. "Stick with me. I'll make sure you get the life you deserve." Ngozi, dazzled by his promises, began to trust him completely. Fumi, the third of his victims, was different, bold and outspoken. She initially resisted Afam's advances. "You think you can charm everyone, but not me," she said, her tone defiant. But Afamefuna loved a challenge. He began to wear her down with persistence, using his wit and humor to break through her defenses. Over time, even Fumi began to see him as a different light. Maybe he's not so bad after all, she thought, unaware that she was walking straight into his trap. Afam's tactics were deliberate and cruel. He knew how to make each girl feel special, like they were the only one who mattered. He would whisper sweet promises, hold their hands a little too long, and write them notes filled with poetry and flattery. To these girls, Afamefuna seemed like a dream, a kind, worldly man who saw value in them when no one else did. But the truth was far darker. Once he had gained their trust, Afam used it to manipulate and control them. What started as innocent conversation in the classroom escalated into secret meetings after school. He wanted them to keep their special bond a secret, telling them that no one else would understand their love. By the time the truth of his actions came to light, it was too late. 3 girls were already pregnant, their future shattered by his betrayal. The revelation sent shockwaves through the school. It began when Ngozi fainted during morning assembly. The school nurse's discovery of her pregnancy was just the tips of the iceberg. Under pressure, Ngozi named Afamefuna as the father. Soon after, Ada and Fumi's family came forward with the same revelation. The scandal exploded, engulfing not only Afamefuna but also the school and its staff, who were accused of negligence. Parents stormed the gates, demanding answers. "How could this happen?" they cried. "How did you let wolf into our daughter's life?" Teachers who had once praised Afam for his charm now distanced themselves, afraid of being implicated. The principal, overwhelmed with guilt and shame, confessed that she had ignored warning signs. For Afamefuna, the walls closed in quickly. His carefree, reckless lifestyle had finally caught up with him. The NYC authorities dismissed him in disgrace, and the police began an investigation. Chief Emeka, once proud of his son, was forced to confront the monster he had unknowingly nurtured. "You've ruined everything," he said, his voice breaking. "Not just these girls' lives, but our family's name, our legacy." The scandal not only destroyed Afamefuna, but also left a lasting impact on the community. The three girls, now facing motherhood far too young, became symbols of the failure of the authority to protect the vulnerable. For Afamefuna, what had begun as a dream come true ended in disgrace, imprisonment, and the collapse of everything he ever taken for granted. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe.